Hi there, I'm Liam O'Mara, and this is Virtue Signaling, my little philosophy of life channel. I know it's getting later in the day and it's getting darker, but I don't feel like turning the lights on, so let's see how this works with low light. I might splice a little bit of video into this near the end too, so it might look a little better darker, but we'll see. Anyway, I wanted to make a quick observation about how we deal with setbacks in life, the little things that sort of throw you for a loop in your any just normal day. Something is going to go wrong, some kind of frustration is going to come up, and it's tempting to take these things very, very personally, to be really thrown off of our game by them. And people are always telling you, well, I mean, there's these cute sayings like "this too shall pass," and just let it go, and don't worry about it. And I think one of the reasons that people have a hard time doing that they have a hard time letting go of those frustrations, I think, is that we get too much of ourselves caught up in it. It's as if somehow this is an affront from the universe itself directed at us. Like, how could this happen to me? You hear this a lot with people often thinking about, well, why do bad things happen to good people? And there's a sense of almost entitlement, I guess, that life should be fair, that good things should happen, and if something bad is happening, then what's wrong? What have I done wrong? This comes up a lot in a lot of religious discourses too, particularly with the Western or Abrahamic faiths, where people are taught that there's this benevolent personal God that's watching out for you, and it's like, well, if God is watching out for me, if angels are watching out for me, then why are bad things happening? What did I do wrong? And given that, we tend to take a lot of it onto ourselves, to think that somehow we're messing up. There's a weird set of expectations people often have that somehow, I don't know, the universe owes you something, that life should be fair. Well, what tells us that life should be fair? Well, I know there are ideas that tell us that. There's tons of different philosophies and religions, cultural trends telling you, things should be fair, life should be fair. Well, really, there's nothing in the universe that makes life fair. It just is what it is. Life just is. I think what helps me in decoupling a bit from the stressors that'll hit, like, I don't know, I have a big one that I'm dealing with right now. Well, in addition to, like, my allergies are driving me crazy right now, and there's a cat that won't leave me alone, and I'm allergic to cats. So setting aside those minor frustrations, I mean, I have a big one here just related to YouTube. I'd set up a new YouTube channel connected to a Google Workspace account, and the channel ran into a problem and got shut down. And they made a mistake on it, so I'm trying to hit the appeal button, but the appeal always takes me to Workspace, and Workspace says they can't take care of it because it's not YouTube isn't a Workspace product, but so it just goes around in circles, and it's just like this giant clusterfuck that you just cannot solve, because no one knows how to reach the person who could actually fix the problem. It just takes you back to the same spot over and over, and it's tempting on some level to think, why is this happening? What the fuck? What did I do to deserve this? Right? You've heard that phrase all the time, what have I done to deserve this? Well, nothing. You did nothing to deserve this, because it's not about you. It just isn't. It's just the way things are. It just happened. But our ego is so caught up in how we perceive things from moment to moment that it really helps to take a step back from that, to let go of some of that ego. I often hear, and I'll clip in a little piece here, of the voice I'm thinking of here. There's a piece from an old Joseph Campbell lecture on Sukhavati, the place of bliss, in the Buddhist scriptures, and it's talking about the Buddha Amida, who has this lotus pond where people can go to instead of reincarnating, and he will help them to achieve enlightenment, help them to achieve bliss from it. But there's something happening at the lotus pond. Like there's a kind of mantra there, and I hear that. I hear that in my head as a mantra myself, and I often hear it in Joseph Campbell's voice, because I don't know, this lecture kind of stuck with me, and I'll just hear, all is impermanent, all is without a self. And I'll just think about that. All is impermanent, all is without a self. And the two parts of that are important. We can often deal with the first half a little more easily. That, well, change happens. All is impermanent. Okay, so like this lousy situation, whatever's troubling you in life, it's not going to last. You're going to solve it. It's no big deal. Things change. Life goes on. And that part, okay. All is impermanent. Okay, so this too shall pass. But all is without a self. That's the trickier part. It's the decoupling of the ego, of this sense of self and of an entitlement. This entitlement to have things be as you want them to be. That is one of the core elements that you get out of Buddhist philosophy in general, is that life doesn't give you what you think you want out of it, what you think you need. This sense of desire or attachment to things is itself the problem. You know, when I want something that I don't have, I'm miserable, particularly if it's something that I can't have. Like you want, I don't know, someone died and you don't want them to have died. You want them to come back. Well, they can't. They're dead, right? So all you're doing is you're tearing yourself up. You're hurting yourself by not accepting that all is impermanent. But we get ourselves too caught up in it, and we start thinking that we somehow deserve certain things, that what we desire should come to us. And instead, if we can let go of the self, let go of the ego, let go of those individual desires, and learn to love and appreciate things as they are, learn to love what you have and where things are, then things don't throw you off as much. This is something that comes to me very clearly from Buddhist thought, also from tons of other sources, the Stoics, Nietzsche. There's tons of people that talk about this sense of necessity and acceptance that helps you to deal with the little things that throw you off in life. Anyway, I just thought I'd point out this little mantra, this all is impermanent, all is without a self, that I have playing in my head, that helps me to set aside my own ego and my own sense of frustration that, why did this happen? Well, it just did. So what? And we process it, process the feeling, and we move on. So I'm going to close this out, tack on a little piece of Joseph Campbell talking, just saying that whole all is impermanent and there. And he wrote, so if you like my cheesy little meditations, go ahead and like and subscribe to this thing and blah, blah, blah. So once again, Liam O'Mara, Virtue Signaling. Have a good night.
As the waters rippled, he would hear. All is impermanent. All is without a self. All is impermanent. All is without a self. Around the lake would be these jewel trees with jewel birds singing, and they would be singing, all is impermanent, all is without a self. Musical instruments in the air would be playing, all is impermanent, all is without a self.